What's up, YouTube fam? How you guys doing today? Clint Lund with Lund MX, back with another video today, guys. I got something a little interesting for you, as you can tell by the title. So, I actually get asked quite often via email or via, messenger service of some sort. What do I look for when I go and buy a used dirt bike? And this really doesn't apply to new. If you have to ask this question to yourself, if buying a new one, maybe dirt bikes aren't for you. But when buying a used dirt bike, what do you look for? What are some of the key things? So today, I'm going to take you guys along with me, and we're going to go attempt to buy a bike. If it's not in the cards, then it's not in the cards. But we're going to try to buy a dirt bike today, and we're going to go look at one in particular. I've been talking to him for a while, so let's go. So the bike in question for today is a 2003 Kx125. You guys know how I love my two-strokes. But it's a 2003 Kx125. I've been talking with the guy over Craigslist for a little while about it now. And he's definitely a motivated seller. He basically knows what he wants to get out of it. He knows what he's put into the bike, obviously, as most sellers do. Some have no idea and haven't put anything into them at all. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to go check out this bike, and we're going to run over some things that you need to check, look at, to make sure that this purchase is not only going to be the best one for you, but it's going to long-term be the most affordable. So first thing, bing, make sure you have cash on hand, all right, guys? Like, this is a issue. When I've sold bikes in the past, dudes have rolled up with checks, guys have tried to scam me on the internet saying that they're gonna send me a money order or a check for over the amount. Do not fall for that stuff, guys. Absolutely take cash only, euro, wherever you're located. Take your domestic trade currency. Do not take anything foreign. Do not take any form of check or, something that could be fraudulent. So obviously, we have to keep in mind, too, when you're selling a bike, that fake money is kind of a big deal. Hasn't happened to me yet, but I've heard of a couple instances. You need to establish a nice place to view the bike. Now, it's happened a couple times when I've gone to buy bikes that either the guy lives in an area where he's not able to start up, you're not able to ride the bike. The other was, you have to make sure it's in a safe place. I mean, knock on wood, it hasn't happened to me, but I've heard of it happening so many times before, where a guy will meet you to buy your bike, or vice versa. He's selling a bike, you'll meet him in some dark alley, punk you for the cash or for the bike, and then take off, and then you're done. All you have is a phone number to reference and buy, and with phones, you can buy a cheap phone and throw it away, and then there's no tie to it at all. So either way, guys, so this is all very important stuff. So I set up with him. I'm meeting him at his work, and he's gonna come out on lunch break. We couldn't make it work. I usually like to go to their house, is where I like to do it. I like to go to their house because if I get punked, then I'd like to know where they live. That's just the kind of guy I am. But in this case, it's his work. I'm fine with that. He brought the bike with him to work, and so we're going to check it out. Also, I called ahead just to let you guys know, so you don't think I'm violating this guy's rights or anything. I called ahead, let him know I was going to be videoing this. He just asked that he wasn't going to be on camera, and I'm totally fine with that. But anyways, I'm on my way to his work right now, and we are going to get this bike looked at, and I'll run over with you some things that you need to look at, and potential warning signs. And then also we'll look at some good aspects of what makes a bike a good purchase. This very well might be a turd when I get there, and in which case that'll be a good lesson for this video. and it might be a great buy, which I'm hoping it is, because long term I want this to be my son's 125 that he learns how to ride on. So enough gabbing, we're almost there. All right, guys, we have arrived. He was generous enough to bring it out by the truck here so I could shoot the video. He walked off camera. He's going back into work, but I'm still within eye shot of his work. He could still see me, so this is fine. Well, I'll turn it around and we'll get looking at this thing. I'm already pretty pumped about it. So here it is, 2003 Kx125. Obviously has brand new plastics. So we know that he tried to pretty it up a little bit before he sold it, which is fine. So just kind of doing a general once around the bike. Let's go ahead and do that. And we'll take a look and see if anything catches our eye straight out. I'm usually not too crazy about black plastics, but you know, it looks pretty good on this bike. All right. So after going once around, let's talk about a few things, and we'll talk about some things that we can maybe use in negotiating a price. He's asking $2,500 for this thing on Craigslist. In the United States, Craigslist is kind of like one of the main places that we go to buy used cars, used motorcycles, and just used stuff in general. And there's a motorcycle section if you didn't know about it, but it's for some of you guys who aren't in the United States, that's kind of like where we go to buy our bikes. For some of us, some of it's Kijiji, Cycle Trader, there's lots of them out there. So anyways, let's go over this thing and see what we see. So first and foremost, we're missing an exhaust bolt here. Not a big deal. However, it does happen on these pipes where there's a nut on the backside, which I can feel is still there. That nut can strip out and then the bolt won't take in here anymore. But I'm gonna just assume that this probably rattled out and I could re-tap it at worst case scenario, put a new one in there. Feel the compression, something simple as that. You wanna make sure, you know, oh, that feels actually pretty good. You wanna make sure that it has nice tight compression, that's not rolling over too easy. I can see it has a new spark plug in it, so it means he did attempt to tune this thing up. We'll pull the oil cap and just give this a good sniff. Tell you why in a second. Let's sniff this thing. Okay, it just smells like oil. Now, what we're looking for when you smell the oil is anything burnt is usually going to indicate clutch. Now with two strokes, you don't have oil filters, anything like that, and luckily on Kawasaki's, they have a little sight glass right here that shows the oil level, which is good. Definitely want to come up here, check out the coolant. If it's low or out or even not even the right color, so we want green, blue, red, something like that. In this case we got pink again, which is okay. That's Kool-Aid from Maxima, I know. But you don't want anything milky colored. That's a big no-no. That's typically blown head gasket or something a little bit bigger is going on. Another thing that just caught my eye is there used to be a top of this bar clamp that went straight across here and it got cut. I'm going to imagine he did that because probably one of these mounts are bent. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna say that this one looks a little further back than that one. So I'll get a good shot of the bars. It looks straight, but I bet you one of these posts bent in a crash. And I'll have to ask him about that one, why that was done. Not a big deal, but definitely something to keep in mind. Little tear in the seat. I could tell this original seat cover from 03, so that's kind of amazing that it has only one tear in it. Now, there's actually a big deal about that one tear. Big deal is that is now a spot for water every time you wash this thing, for water to get in, saturate, and rot the foam. To some of you guys, that's not a big deal. To me, it kind of is a big deal because that seat foam is going to be about $60. Ding! $60 is the first price that we got to think about, including a seat cover, because we don't want it to continue to rot the seat foam. So seat cover, 40, 60 bucks, somewhere in there for a decent seat cover. So we're already, worst case scenario, about 120 bucks just in the seat, guys. Next thing we want to look at is obviously the tires. This is a wear bar. Just about every tire has it. It's almost right there. For a 125, this tire is probably okay, you know. So we'll definitely we'll think that that's all right with the price. I'm gonna get my tripod for the next one. All right, guys, the next one is kind of a big deal for me, and you got to check the slack in the rear wheel. We're gonna be feeling for shock bearings, shock bushings, and swing arm bearings, wheel bearings, things of that sort, because that can really add up long term also on the price. So you simply just put your hand under the wheel like this and lift up, and it has just a little tick when I pull up on it. That's fine. A little tick, fine. Big clunk, 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 clunk. Definitely think about, we're going to be needing a whole pivot works bearing kit. This one feels tight. So again, come down here, and we want to go side to side with the wheel. So we're just going to hold the seat, grab the wheel, go side to side. I don't feel any play at all, nice and tight. So that means our wheel bearings are good, swing arm bearings are good, because we would feel the side to side. I don't feel anything like that. Quickly just kind of check the spokes with your hands. Just squeeze them, see if any of them are loose. These all seem to be pretty tight. Chain, you can just put 3 fingers between the slider, in between the chain and the slider, and see what your chain stretch is. This is a little on the loose side. I'll move you guys over. So we're gonna go like this. There's always a bolt on the end of the slider here. Put your finger between it, three fingers. This has a little bit more gap. Now you go side to side, and then you can grab links individually and go like this. So our chain is shot. We do need a chain. Not a huge deal. Pegs aren't bent. That's another important thing. The rear shock looks like it definitely needs some servicing. I'll show you. Getting in here, check out your shock. Make sure you don't have oil dripping down the shock shaft. The bumper on this one looks very deteriorated. It's gonna need a new bumper. Not a big deal, but it's gonna need a shock service, so we need to figure about $140 in shock service, okay? Moving over, you know, we got proper fuel lines that don't have inline filters on them. Inline filters are not good, guys. They strain oil, they cause very inconsistent oil gas mixture. If you see an inline filter, take it off. Hopefully it still runs good. You know, choke works fine. Air boots sealed all the way around the back side of the carb. I've seen it before where these air boots don't get completely pulled over, and then you're left with an air gap where it can suck in dust. Hose clamps are tight on both sides. Again, that one's all the way in the boot. Feel the clutch. Nice, 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 nice. Fuel valve not stuck. Rollers, chain rollers are in decent shape. Don't need to replace those. So far it's looking pretty good, guys. Moving up front, look for any oil on the fork seals. That would indicate we need new fork seals. I see some residue right here. It might have a leaky fork seal. Yeah, it does over there. So again, about another $130, $140 for a fork service. So we're racking up the bill on this thing here, guys. This overflow tube right here is actually a power valve vent. It comes out of the power valve, and if it fills up with too much oil, it vents. So no worries about if it has too much oil coming out of it. Then that can mean that you need some power valve sealing work, or the bike's just been running really rich. We want to check out throttle, make sure it snaps back nicely, that there's no cables grinding, biting, or catching. Front brake lever. And the lever goes all the way to the bar. It might need to be bled. We might need a new cable. I'm gonna venture to guess we need a new cable. This one looks pretty oxidized. So again, another 40-50 bucks there for a cable. Moving on down, you know, everything else, I really don't see any other problems with it. Definitely want to check steering head tube, make sure it's not binding or it has notchiness to it. It feels nice and smooth. Not bad, not bad. And lastly, got two more things to do here. Is give the gas a good smell. Smells good. You can tell if it's kind of sour smelling, like pickle juice. It's been in there for a long time. I don't have any tools with me, and it's not uncommon to carry tools with you guys on these bikes, but in this case I can just kind of look through and see the air filter. I don't know if you guys can see that. She's clean. I worry about things like the air filter for sure. But that looks good. The oil looks clean. So far we're doing all right with this. We got some things though that we need to talk to the owner about. All right, guys, so I just had a little talk with the owner. I brought up to him the fact that we're gonna need a new seat cover, chain, sprockets are pretty well worn. The rear shock needs servicing, the bumper's ripped, the front fork seals are leaking. So what you need to do in this case, guys, because in my case, when I saw the ad of the bike, it said 2,500 or best offer. Now sometimes you'll see or best offer, sometimes you'll say firm on price. You know, you really have to respect the owner on that. So he said or best offer. So I'm going to take into consideration that I need all those things I just listed. And, you know, I'm on the positive side with the bike, because I can tell that he does keep up on maintenance. Maybe the shock and forks got a little overlooked, but he did state to me in text messaging and in phone call and in the ad that the bike has been sitting for a while. So I have to take into mind that he did say it's been sitting for a while, and so a lot of the seals, anything rubber from sitting for so long, is going to dry up and get cracked. Now, I asked him about the bar mounts. Apparently he was in a crash a while back. It bent the bars and it bent the mounts. He put newer bars on it. And then he had to cut that upper mount because, yes, the bar mounts were wonky. That's not the right way to fix it. You just get new bar mounts, but you know, we'll take that in stride and we'll fix that on our own. So I'm going to come at him with $1,800. He's asking $2,500. So this is a dance that you got to play on this thing. Is I'm not really looking to resell this bike. This is something I want my son to ride and race, and you know, we'll build up in a project video. We'll get some nice wheels, build the engine out all sick and fast, and get an exhaust system. You guys know what goes on a nice bike. So I want to make sure that this is a good candidate to put all that money into. So one of the things I still haven't done yet, and he said it's okay around here, is to start it up. So let's start it up. Gas on. I like to check first if it'll start without the choke. If it starts without the choke, then that means we have pretty good sealing in the top end and the carburetor's not clogged. I just took it for a little ride, and honestly, it shifts fine. You want to go first, second, third, fourth. Some bikes have 6. Go through all the gears up and down, go to neutral, and just really feel each gear. You don't race it around, don't get on it all hard. There's no point in that. The idle is a little bit high. It could just be a simple idle setting on the carburetor I need to turn down, or it could be an air leak. I did look at the carburetor intake and the air boot to see if there was any type of air leak. I didn't see any, but I'll check the clamps for sure, and I will have to check that idle to make sure that that's not exactly, you know, there could be a leak in on the stator crankshaft seal too. There could be a lot of things that can be making it idle a little bit high, and hopefully it's just something as easy as turning down the idle on the carburetor. But other than that, if he agrees with the 1,800 bucks, then I feel like this is a really good deal. Now my target price is 1,800, but I want to try to just go down a little bit more, because I know he's gonna say, oh, I can't do anything less than 2,000. So you got to play that little song and dance with them, and because he has a number in their head that they want for the bike, then you have a number in your head for the bike. So you need to make those kind of come together, and both of you guys kind of meet in the middle, so both parties are happy. Okay, so I was able to catch the owner, and he came out, and I was able to talk to him a little bit about all the things that I saw that were wrong with it. He does have a clean title of ownership for it, clean registration. And by clean registration just means it's up to date, it's not past due. So when you go into our Department of Motor Vehicles, they're not going to say, oh, it's past due and you have all these extra overages. So he has all the valid paperwork. The bike itself is in a percentile wise, I'd say about 70% condition. It's got a few things, but none of which are really bad. The engine runs good, it sounds good, it's crisp, it doesn't have any knocking noise up top in the top end. It started without the choke. The idle's a little bit high, but I have a feeling even at the worst case scenario where it's a crankshaft seal, you know, me being a mechanic, it's a lot easier, but if you're buying something that had a high idle like that, you gotta figure probably around $200 to replace that seal, and that's figuring it could be replaced externally. You don't have to split apart the motor, in other words, to replace the seal. So chain, sprockets, seat foam, and then fork seals, shock seal, and just kind of go over the bike, grease, Loctite, everything. You know, we're in it. So he's gonna come back out here in another second with the paperwork to show me that it is valid and matches the VIN number on the bike, because that's important. And then once he does that, guys, I'm gonna throw 15. I know it's 1,000 less than he was asking at 25, but this is part of that song and dance, and hopefully we can get this thing for a pretty good deal. Fingers crossed, guys. All right, guys. You can't see it back there? Where's the glare? There's the glare. It's back there. We loaded her up. So what ended up happening, he went in, got the paperwork, brought it out. I matched it. Looks great. Okay. All the VIN numbers are right. All the expiration dates are correct. So paperwork was spot on. I said, hey, man, I know you know I'm a mechanic, and because I already disclosed that, and I said, you know, this is going to be a little bit of work to get this thing to where I could trust my boy to ride it. How's 1,500 sound? And you would think that I just shot him in the heart with the bazooka, because he was like, are you kidding me? I was like, no. I was like, work with me though. So one thing you guys don't want to do is insult the guy. I might have insulted him a little bit, and by giving that total. And afterwards, I had to apologize. And I had to explain to him that, hey, sometimes this is just part of the game. You just don't know where the seller's at and how much they're truly trying to get Because sometimes people will put bikes up for $3,000 when they're really expecting 15, and they know that someone's going to tear them down on the price and then hit the price that they really want. So I explained to him, I was like, listen, okay, I could see that, you know, you're only selling this bike because the holidays are here and you're looking for a little extra money. I was like, I'm willing to come up and do $1,800. And he was like, I can do that. I can do that. He was hoping to get $2,000. I was hoping to pay $18,000. So this worked out for the both of us. And I'm happy because I got a really good bike and something that I know that's going to be a good project. It's going to be a great bike for my son. You know, 125s are great bikes, guys, for the kids who are coming off of 85 and aren't quite on that 250cc, you know, spectrum of ability yet. You know, my son definitely could ride a 250, but not competitively race it and stuff like that. So things you got to keep in mind when buying a bike too is make sure you're buying the right bike for your kid or spouse or husband, whoever you're looking at this for. Make sure it's the right size. And then last but not least, guys, make sure you're not getting yourself into a money pit that you're going to just be constantly dumping money into, and you know, you're going to spend your way out of buying, you know, a good deal to a really bad deal really quick. So with that being said, I'm extremely pumped to get this thing home, tear into it, and find out all the little hidden secrets. Hopefully there aren't any. So anyways, guys, this is Clint Lund with London Mex. Hope you guys took a little info from that. I hope it was helpful. Look forward to seeing this bike in future videos. Obviously, it's not at all my priority. I'm just going to get this thing, you know, suspension done, get some of the fasteners replaced, chain and sprockets, just the things that I had told him about. I'm going to get those things replaced so my son could ride it safely. But then other than that, guys, we're going to run this thing. We're still going to focus on the Kx500 projects that we got going on, the 2 of those. And then I still have the secret bike I have to bring in that I haven't done to you guys yet. And then, you know, I got my Teespring website launched. If you guys are looking for some fresh t-shirts, go check out my Teespring. I'll post a link down in the description of this video. All the profits, guys, just immediately go to the channel and helping me out. I really appreciate everything you guys do. And this is a cool way to get yourself some nice swag, some nice merch, support your YouTubers, and at the same time, it helps them to keep producing videos. So I appreciate all you guys in advance. Other than that, from right now, I'm going to get going, go get this thing home. I love every single one of you guys. I will talk to you soon. That's a very, very big promise. I got a lot going on, and I got some big news about Suzuki. So, check in with you guys soon. Peace out.